Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tribe of Leaders podcast. I'm your host, Emmy Kirshner. Have you ever felt like you just walked from putting one fire or one crisis out to the next? Well, my guest today, Josh Fonger of Work the System, is going to talk about how systems can help you create more time and make more money. He's a consultant, coach, and speaker, and his forte is helping businesses and business owners properly organize and systematize their operations so they experience and achieve exponential growth. I had a really cool conversation with him, and we talked about not only how simple things and simple systems can revolutionize your business, but how you can take those systems and implement them in your personal life and free up more time to focus on the things that are really important to you. Check it out. I think you're going to get some great content here. And if you find this valuable, please rate us, subscribe, leave comments below. I'd love to hear from you. My name is Emmy Kirshner. I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. The one thing that I get asked all the time is, how do you achieve success in business and make an impact? In each episode of the Tribe of Leaders podcast, you'll hear from entrepreneurs and visionaries who share how their leadership has changed not only their lives, but the lives of everybody around them. Hey, Josh, I am so excited to have you on the show today. Welcome to the Tribe of Leaders. And my clients and the people who follow me know that I love systems and that I'm a planning geek. So I can hardly wait to get to know more about you and your business and your system. So introduce yourself, share with everybody who you are and all the amazingness that you offer to the world.
Okay, well, great. Glad to be here. Glad to be on the show. My name is Josh Fonger. I work with an author named Sam Carpenter who wrote a great book called Work the System. And so that's what I do. I help companies get the documentation out of their head, all of the work they do out of their head into systems so they can grow their companies and scale. So if you are working too many hours with not enough bottom line, then this is the solution we give people.
Awesome. And I know my people, as we were saying before we started recording, they've got a lot in their head. So what is one of the first steps? And let's talk about what Work the System is and how having it all in your head is not a good thing.
Well, yeah, most people, they start the company, that whatever entrepreneurial endeavor they're on, they start their company and they end up doing all the work themselves. Of course, everyone knows the story. And then they hit a plateau. They get stuck. They get stuck doing all the things themselves and they don't have enough time in the day to do any more. And if they bring on people, the people they end up bringing on end up not being able to do the work either because they have no experience or they have no training or they don't know what right or what good even looks like. And so we kind of take people through a process to do that. And it starts with a mindset shift, which is kind of the key element of Sam's book, Work the System, is to see your business as separate systems. And so basically you're looking at your business from an outside and slightly elevated viewpoints. You're looking down on your business, not in it, but above it. And once you do that, you can start to see the separate pieces, see the separate elements. And so that's where we start with everybody, is being able to break up your company into separate parts. And so instead of just saying, so you mentioned you're in catering. So instead of just saying you're a catering business, and I've worked with several of those, you would say, okay, we have bakers here, we've got our salespeople here, we've got our schedulers, we have people who do our marketing. And then beyond that, we have people who answer the phone, like that's a separate task, and people who, buy the product. And then you slowly break it into all these hundreds of pieces. And so it's not just this confused, complex entity. It's made up of these separate pieces. And once you have the separate pieces, then you can start working on them one by one. And it's not about fixing an entire business at once. It's about fixing, let's just say, your recipe for vanilla frosting. Like once you get that one recipe, that is now a perfect piece of the business. And then you're going to move on to the next. And we help companies prioritize those pieces and start working through those pieces so that they can have, build the assets of what we call a perfect business.
Right. Excellent. And how much time does the average person save once you start getting some of the stuff out of the head and creating the perfect vanilla recipe?
Yeah, well, it's tough to get an exact number on that because some of the clients we work with have hundreds of employees, and a lot of companies we work with have zero. So there's a range. But we did do a survey out to all of our clients. So just hundreds of people got this survey and have gone through our program, and we wanted to see, are you saving time actually? And the average time we save per person per week is 10 hours and 14 minutes. And so some people save more time, some people save less time. The author of the book, he went from 100-hour work weeks down to 2-hour work weeks. And so that was kind of his big shift. And that's what, his claim to fame is. But 10 hours. So it's a big shift for most people. And we really have, 3 big criteria that we work on, because you can cut your work week down right now if you just stop going to work, but you also have to raise your income. So it's income raised, hours of time per week going down, and stress level reduced. Those are the 3 variables that we actually care about the most. So we know if our program is working, if those 3 variables are going the right direction. So stress going down, hours going up, personal hours, and then income going up. So our average, our survey said that the average income personally went up by $41,000. I'm actually reading this off right now. $41,248 a year personal income increase. So not sales, but personal income. And so that's what we're trying to work on.
Love it. I love it. So if somebody wanted to start looking at the system, where would you start them?
Well, I would start with first coming up with a clear strategy. So once they kind of understand this mindset, they say, yeah, I want to do this. I want to actually transform my business, because it isn't just a tactic. It's not like something you're going to do in a day. It's a transformation which takes some time. And so if they want to actually go through this, and most people don't, they're content just kind of floundering and having a yo-yo business, I call it. So they go up, they go down, they work more, they make more, they work less, they make less. They just they stay there for forever,
right,
until they go out of business. That's vast majority of companies.
Right.
If you're fine with that, that's fine. But if you want something more, then it takes a transformation. So we start them off with a strategic objective. So some kind of document that tells them exactly where they're going to go and how they're going to get there. And of course, it's going to be modified a little bit with time, especially for newer companies that they don't necessarily know where they want to go. But if we can write that strategic objective first, that 1-page plan, then we actually can more boldly take steps and more assertively build those assets, because no one wants to build something that's going to be gone tomorrow. But if they know, hey, I'm actually going to build this company and it's going to be something in 5 years and it's going to actually be worth something, then they're actually willing to put in some effort and build those systems.
Very cool. How long does it take to implement then the whole system? It would be different from person to person, but it's not like a week, 3 months, 6 months, a year.
Yeah, we've tried it all sorts of different scenarios, really tight timeframes. We've done it in a weekend before, which I think is way too tight. And we've stretched it out, 6, 9, 12 months, which I think is too long. So we take people, we think that kind of the sweet spot is 4 months. So 4 months of dedicated, a couple hours a week, every week, pushing forward. And of course, the bigger companies and smaller companies, in complexity changes those variables. But if you can stay consistent for about 4 months, putting a few hours in every week on building this infrastructure, you're going to be totally transformed, totally changed, and have the momentum and the time back and the money back and the reduction in stress necessary to keep it going and really be in a totally different place. And that's our standard transformation, is a 4-month.
Nice. So that's really not a long time.
And when you think about it, everyone's working hard already. And so we're just saying, yeah, you gotta work hard for 4 more months, but you're already working hard. So just dedicate the right time to the right places for 4 months.
Right.
You will have a transformation, and then life will just keep getting better. And that's not just a fairy tale. That actually is true. I get to work with people and I see, instead of just chasing the next Facebook ad idea or trying the next funnel idea, but just really build your company the right way. Get a proper foundation, a proper strategy. Principles is the next thing we work on, and build these assets that you're going to then be able to give to your team, grow a team. What's going to happen? Well, quality is going to go up, speed's going to go up, efficiency is going to go up, profitability is going to go up, customer service, and they're all going to go up, depending on where the problem areas of your business are. They're all going to go up incrementally, and you're going to get to a place ultimately where 99% of your competition is not doing this. And so they're not going to invest the time. They're going to be chasing the next shiny object, but you're actually building something they can't compete with.
Right.
And then on the other side, they're playing catch up, right? You're already way above them. And then you can take those assets and leverage them further, and they can.
Love it. I love it. So do you have any sense of what people do with their extra time?
I have a list of they go boating, spend time with the kids, volunteer, church, whatever. I mean, there's hundreds of things, and I don't coach them on that. I don't counsel them on what they want to do.
Yeah.
But I know for me, when I met Sam, that was a big deal for me because we've got 3 kids. My wife has a number of health issues, and 2 of my kids are special needs, and we homeschool. So we're like I really wanted time, and that was a big deal for me, was to make sure that whatever business I built, I structured the system so that I could have maximum time. That's actually more valuable to me than money. And so that was a big thing that I shifted and focused on. And so some people, it's the time, and some people it's the money, but ultimately all those variables matter, and they're good indicators of good ownership.
Okay, very cool. And I would think too, like if the average time frame or the ideal time frame is about 4 months, that somewhere in month 2 or so, they're starting to see some results if they've been consistent in getting some of their time back.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And I was tracking this to see what, because we've gone through hundreds of entrepreneurs, and I was curious to know what kind of variable changed first. And it's not the time one, because when you start freeing up time, let's say you buy supplies for your people, your fleet. Okay. You're buying supplies, and you find someone else to buy supplies for you. Okay, you build a system for that. Now you're going to take that extra 2 hours a week, and you're probably going to use it for something else in your business. So even though you save 2 hours, you're going to still use those 2 hours because there's something else you want to work on. Right. So the time, it's more of a reallocation of time for the first 4 months onto more and more system building. The first thing that changes is stress. Okay. Really, within a few weeks, once they have this paradigm shift, once they realize that actually there is a way out, and the way out is logical, and they're making steps, the stress is what drops first. And so we have 34.91 decrease stress. So that the stress goes down first. And then it's the time, right? They start freeing up time. And then it's the money. The money is the kind of the last byproduct. And it's different in some companies. They might have some major promotion. I had one client, we started working together, and within a few months, he released a new product. We worked on this product, and he made $3 million in 2 days. So that's rare. Okay. It's very unusual. Best-selling author on Oprah. But usually it's the stress, the time, and the money. And that's the sequence.
Okay. How many steps are in the system too? Is it like a stepped process?
Yeah, we've probably got 4 main elements to our system. And of course, there's lots of different tangents you can go on based on the problems you have in your business and how complex it is. But really, it's the mindset. So once you think differently, that doesn't need to take very long. It's the strategy. Again, it doesn't need to take very long. It's the principles. So the way you make decisions and the way everyone who works with you makes decisions, you want them to all assimilate around common principles, how we make decisions. And once that's done, it really alleviates a lot of the work necessary to hold people accountable, to micromanage, things like that. So that's the third phase. So mindset, strategy, principles, and then procedures. And then procedures can last a while, right? That you can work on procedures. Sam's, his company, Centratel, which is what the book is written about, they're still working on procedures 20 years later. So he wrote the book about 20 years ago. They're still doing it because there's always new innovations. There's always new ideas. There's always new services. And so the procedures will then go into different categories. So when I teach people about how to write a working procedure for how they do things, they're going to have procedures about their people, about sales, administration, operations, HR, technology, and so financial. We're going to then go into each of those areas over a series of months and knock out the main ones, the main problem areas first. And then after that, once they get some momentum, then they just keep building more and more and more with time. And that's kind of an ongoing thing.
So the systems really enables you to evolve too, so that even though once you've got it kind of all complete, and I'm air quoting here, but like it can evolve and change. It doesn't have to be stuck into one thing. Because it's just everything changes. What was the perfect process no longer becomes the perfect process, or you want to serve your clients or customers in a different way, et cetera.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly your audience, but if they're more online businesses that are more dynamic industries and service-based industries, then with less infrastructure, like if I'm working with a manufacturing company that's manufacturing, let's just say small parts, they're going to probably stay the same 20 years, 30 years later because they've invested so much in infrastructure. Whereas if you're an online service-based industry, there's a lot more nimbleness and mobility you have to have with whatever you're offering. And so the way we write systems is a little bit different for that kind of a business. But yeah, it definitely gives you the framework of which to modify. And most modifications, most innovations are micro. They are a change in phraseology here, a change in offering here, a change in price there. But if you have the architecture and the infrastructure, it's very easy to tweak that. But if it's just all in your head, I mean, you get very lost very quickly. And so does your team. And that's when mistakes happen. That's when stress happens. That's when miscommunication happens, frustration. And then you wonder why you're even doing it in the first place. And so that's what happens.
Yeah, got it. I'm curious too, as you've implemented this, you said, time was really the biggest thing for you. What other benefits have you seen outside of that?
Well, yeah. So one of the first things so me and the owner, Sam, he's 69. And so, we're from two different generations. And so I got to spend a lot of time with him, and he's mentoring me through kind of, passing the torch on to me so I can work the system. And he talked to me about this concept of communication systems and relationship systems. And I was like, relationship systems? Like, what do you mean? And he said, well, how about you and your wife? And so what do you do? And I started thinking about, the systems that I have with my wife and with my family, and how it was more just reactionary. It was just based on the emotion or the feeling or the stress of the day or outside influences. And a big part of the work system method is about having control and you deciding what is important and you deciding the direction of your business and your family. And so I thought, okay, well, I want to have a great relationship with my wife. I want to have these certain things. And so what are the components? What are the systems? Okay, well, it's going to be a weekly date night. It's going to be going on walks every night. It's going to be having a family dinner. It's going to be having, we pray together in the morning. It's going to be these components, these systems are going to need to be part of our daily, weekly, monthly practice. And if we don't do these systems, then we can expect the results to be bad. But if we do the systems, we can expect great results. And so I instituted systems in marriage. We've got checklists for our kids. We have systems for them to work through each day. And we also do with my sister. So my sister lives in Louisiana. My parents live in Michigan and I live in Arizona. So I knew early on that I wanted to have a good relationship with them. And I developed what systems would that be? And so I typically talk to my parents 45 minutes every Saturday while I'm running errands. So it's a system that I know I'll have a decent relationship with them by this conversation. I call my sister every other week. It's a relationship system. Before that, it was just whenever, and it was not structured. So it just didn't happen.
Right. And I think that's so important. What you just said too is that we have the intention of reaching out to whether it's somebody, a family member or a friend or, our clients. And without that structure, it doesn't happen because we fill our time with whatever we're filling our time with. So having that in place and making it part of the routine, I think is what really contributes to success. So would you agree or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think you have to decide exactly what's important to you and put that into your day first. And if there's extra time, sure. Yeah. Go watch a movie or go whatever. But chances are there won't be any extra time. Yeah. What I found out is that if you put in all the things that are important first, there actually isn't any extra time for those time wasters. And so I'm big on building the hard stuff in the morning. So we call that biological prime time, when you have the most ability to discipline yourself, and then things that are easier to do in the evening. Typically, there's a few ebbs and flows to your energy cycle, but it's a battle. It's a daily battle, and the goal is to not look too far in the past or in the future, but just the day. How am I going to manage my day? And we definitely take the work the system approach to that. Of course, our business is 99% business focused, but we've got countless people who've taken the same philosophy and done it with their, the way they organize their lives, their health. Like people have lost weight because they've thought differently about it and then built systems and routines.
Awesome. I love it. Share with me your thoughts on why most entrepreneurs or businesses plateau too.
Yeah, well, there could be a whole host of reasons why, but typically it's mindset. It's the mindset that no one else can do it like they can. And it's fear, it's bad strategy. I mean, there's a lot of variables that would make them plateau. But really, if you are going to do the work yourself and you're not going to build a team, if you're not thinking team building, you're going to plateau. You're going to plateau at either 50 grand a year or 100 grand a year. I had one patent attorney. he plateaued at $600,000 a year, which is pretty good, but he was working 80 hours a week and he just was never going to ever get more money than that. And I just said, you've got to slow down. You've got to build a team. Otherwise you're stuck here and you're stuck with a horrible life, really. So people, if they don't have any intention of building a team, they're going to plateau for sure. It's just a matter of when the dollar figure is going to happen. Right. So, and you can't build a team by just osmosis and luck. You have to build some structure to build a team. And that's why most people plateau is they don't, no strategy, no principles, no procedures. So we help them with that. So I'm kind of giving you a whole bunch of a spattering of answers, but I think it starts with pegging on one thing. I would say leadership. They see themselves as doers, employees in the business, not as leaders in the business. And because they've never mentally thought of themselves as that, as true business owners, they've just gotten stuck. They've gotten stuck. And if you don't feel like there's enough time or enough money to move beyond your situation, it's definitely it's kind of, you're kind of a slave to your own company, and it's difficult to break free. And so that's why we don't just offer people like a one-day tactic. It's really like, you got to stick with this for 4 months if you're really going to break those chains. And it's difficult to do.
Right. I would think too that, and like just based on your attorney example, I mean, there's only so many billable hours.
Yep.
Bill, whether you're working 40 hours a week or 100 hours a week, at some point you fill the billable hours, and people aren't thinking, because they are in the work in the business, not the on or the CEO mindset. They're not thinking about scalability when they're designing their business.
Exactly. Yeah. And not everyone has to become a millionaire. I mean, I've had plenty of clients who they just say they want to, get 10 more hours a week. They want to raise their income a little bit. They want to go on a few vacations, and that's going to require they bring on a couple employees, maybe a part-timer, maybe an assistant, maybe outsource a few things. And that's just going to require a little bit more structure and a clear strategy. So it doesn't have to be like, not everyone needs to be a millionaire. I mean, I've worked with people who they just want to have a little bit more of each of these things. And it's the same technique for them as well. I think most people, they don't have a plan to do it. And so they just think when they need more money, they work harder. When they want more free time, they work less, which means they make less money. And they're just stuck in an employee mindset as opposed to an owner mindset, seeing their business as a separate entity. Right. Share with us, if somebody wanted to read the book and get started, how can they do that? Yeah, well, I'd recommend going to workthesystem.com. Sam generously just gives the book away for free there for download, and allows people to get the audio version for free as well. Of course, you can buy it on Amazon, but that was a big part of his goal with the book, was just legacy. He knew what it was like to be a slave to his work. I mean, he was literally going to go bankrupt and die of a heart attack until he had this epiphany. And so his big goal, he doesn't need to make the money, is he just wants the distribution of the message. And so going to workthesystem.com, you can download the book, and it's available for free.
Okay, cool. And if somebody wanted some help with it, is there a way that you can help implement with them, or?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. And that's why Sam and I started our partnership 8 years ago. Was he loves to get the message out there, but he's like, I don't need the money, and I don't want to do all this coaching and consulting. So that's what I do. That's what I've always done. So all of our clients, some of them I do consulting, some actually flying out there. Some of them I do the coaching with, one-on-one and group coaching. And so that's what I do. And then the new thing, because I know that I want to scale Work the System, is that I'm training coaches, I'm training consultants, I'm certifying them so that they can also do it. It's all on the same website, but really the goal is to help as many entrepreneurs as we can, because this is an extremely common problem, and there is a way out. And we just want to make sure that we can get that message out there to as many people as we can.
Awesome. Great. And share with everybody. We'll put the link in the show notes too, but share the website again if somebody wants to go check it out right now.
Yeah. Workthesystem.com, all one word, Work the System. And, that's the same with our podcast and YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all those other things. But I would say the first place to go would be the website, because then you can get the book, and workthesystem.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love this because as I said, I love the whole system piece of it, and streamlining and automating. I think what you shared adds so much value to so many people. So thank you so much for being on today.
Thanks, Amy. I appreciate it.
Awesome. And everybody listening, we will see you next week. As an entrepreneur, do you ever feel isolated, like you're just grinding away and not getting to the place or reaching the goals that you want? Maybe you've realized that you just spent days, weeks, or even months trying to accomplish something only to figure out that the answer that you have would have saved you all of that time. I know I've had that experience, and my clients have as well. And that's why I created the Tribe of Leaders Biz School. Get the accountability, the training, and the knowledge base in a community of like-minded people who are there to support you. Go ahead and check it out. It's thetribeofleaders.com.